Morning, guys. So we've had an interesting, nice little push back up. So this is the short that I shared with you guys last week. And at the moment, the price is moving back into the sell zone. Now, as I explained to you guys that when we entered around this area, that I expect the market to still find a reason to go make a higher high and potentially trend around a little bit longer. So I have a little internal bias to point to, from a trader point of view, that we need to just make the bulls feel more comfortable so that they can bring their money. And the way that we do that, if we want to short the market, and have the entry liquidity that we need for the shorts, so that we can push price lower still to a $70,000 range target, is to create a scenario where we break the trend that everybody is looking at. Now, what is that trend? Well, simple. From all the way to $99,000, where our last big short was, and we can pull that up even higher to at least 110. There's many of these lines that one can draw. Retail traders or your newbie traders would be looking at this and saying, well, as long as we're still below these lines, we're bearish. But now we're starting to step up these lines. So we're starting to step through these levels. And it creates the door in a scenario for a bear trap. So what I want to do with you guys today is I want to look at this bear trap. I want to identify the critical support and resistance levels for you, and then help you to navigate this range, because it is really hard at this stage to kind of feel to a point where, to kind of fight the bullish urges that's there, because I really want to be bullish. And also to understand that despite my own personal sentiment, your personal sentiment, anybody's sentiment, that this is the zone where we need to kind of focus on, just making money. And that's what trading is about. I don't care really. I just want to make money. Okay. Over to the comments. Morning, Liesel. Morning, Chris. Renee, you're here in the house. Everybody's joining in live. So it's a little bit of a slow Monday morning. Only 20 people. We're normally about a few hundred people at this stage. So I'm gonna crunch that down to the fact that it is a shakeout and the majority has left the building. And that's really good. When the bus is empty, it is poised for a big move. But then this supports the notion. If this kind of price action is what's needed to bring liquidity back into the exchanges for the sell-off, price will be engineering, the bigger players will engineer the bullish move, create that happy space, and then sell the price down. Okay, so off to our trade and why I think that way. So let's take away the setup real quick, and I want to bring up this little chart for you guys. This one here. There we go. Now, when we talk about the divergences, well, let's park that for a moment there. If you want to join my private trading group, you want to support the content that I also create, you don't necessarily have to join, but support the content. Feel free to open a Bybit, Blofin, or PrimeXBT account today. Links in the video description. And as a reward, what I do is I always give you something in exchange. So you can get the buddy indicator and you can get access to the public live trade room. Now, I say public, it's still semi-private. Everybody that's in there has already opened a link on one of these exchange links that I've given you guys, so that you don't have scammers and random guys just dropping in saying, hey, this is what we're doing. So it's a clean, cool, calm, safe space. If you want to join that, that's what you need to do. And any of these channel partners will give you access to the buddy indicator. If you want to buy it outright, it goes for $600. So it is definitely worth the money. So that's it. Okay, so let's get to the TA now. Let's get to the education side of things now. Okay, so let's see what else. Morning. Everybody's joining. Oh, it's still slow. Only 33 people in live. Okay. That's bear market. Thank you. So let's talk about this divergence. I want to bring back this chart. So in short, there's two kinds of divergences that you need to keep in mind. It's the reversal divergences and the continuation divergences. And when we're looking at trading, we almost you almost don't want to be trading any of the reversal divergences because it is not a guarantee. You know, these happen many times. How many of you guys have seen divergences and you think you've marked it out perfectly and then price goes higher? It's frustrating. I know myself, you know, from that experience. And then I started ignoring it because it feels like it's not valuable. But knowing the place is key. So if you want to trade a continuation divergence, what we're looking for is price to not make a higher high or a lower low, but the RSI to do the opposite. Okay. And that is the key. Okay. So when we look at this now on the 4-hour time frame, we need to bring in the RSI, and then we need to just first identify our pivots before we can look at the divergence itself. Now, the pivots is the spots in price where we need to mark our divergences from. Now, these are normally very hard to identify if you just look at the candles, but if you look at the RSI, it becomes very simple. There's a pivot, there's a pivot, there's a pivot, there's a pivot. There's a pivot. Okay, very simple to that exchange, because the RSI turns around and gives you a pivot. Simple. Okay. So when we then look at it from that point of view, what we then need to do is just go and bring that highest point of the RSI over to the price. Okay. That lowest point of the RSI, well, there's a little bit of a divergence there. So I'll use that one, bring it over, and the same there, and the same there. So once we have that, then we know the following. There was a wave, there was a wave, there was a wave. And at the moment, we're in a wave. So if we're looking for a continuation of divergence, we want to have it wave on wave. Those are the next move, the next big cycle, the next big sell-off, or the next big pump that we're looking for. Okay. So all our divergences that we're going to be looking for needs to consider this pivot, needs to consider that price. Okay, that's it. That's all we need to do. And now we need the following. We need the RSI to now go make a higher high on that pivot, and then price to stay below that point because we don't want the higher high. And then we have hidden bearish divergence. And that means that we've entered the hunting ground for the short. Okay. Let's take away the RSI, because clearly you can see that is the case. The RSI, any more bullish upward momentum, any more bullish upward momentum as per the setup, any more move in there would guarantee that we do have that divergence. So the bullish sentiment that you're feeling at the moment is almost right. It's well placed, because we need that to drive price higher so that we can hit that short. Okay. Now, the rule for trading: always trade in harmony with the trend. The trend is down, you're short. Simple as that. If you look at all the trades that I shared with you guys within the last month, sell zone, beautiful. Sell zone, beautiful. It's the longs. This was a really good shakeout with high hopes. But when we got to this area, we had hidden bearish divergence on these moves. Okay. Let's do that. There you go. Higher high in the RSI, lower high in price. So what did we do? We shorted it. Went down lower again. It went all the way back. So now we're doing exactly the same, but now we're using this high. There we use that high. Now we're using this high. Same thing. So we'll probably either go sweeper, make a lower low, become really bearish, or test at a support level and build a base. And then we'll look to enter on that. So the direction for today is hitting short based on that analysis. Now, how do I further identify or narrow this down? This is now where you can go and have a look at the 15-minute time frame and look for a tighter entry, because obviously going short right now with the invalidation, say at 95,500, doesn't really make realistically sense, because that's a lot of percentages on a one-to-one on spot ratio. So when you leverage that, that's going to wreck your account. So what you do is you go onto a smaller time frame, your 15-minute, and then you start hunting for shorts as soon as we're in that area. So the buddy indicator is the tool that I suggest that you use. It's your trade buddy. So it's like a little reminder friend that it's always there, ready to just kind of guide you through what is necessary or what needs to be done, while you're trading. So you've got your 4-hour sentiment there, and now you've got your buddy indicator next to you, and you start saying, okay, right, I know that I need to hunt for a short. The market is bullish. And what do I need to see in the buddy indicator? Simple. You have various strategies in the indicator, strat 1 up to strat 5. And the first strategy that you would want to use is strat 1, meaning we're looking for the trend to change, strat 1. Okay. Then it's going to give you an entry situation, and then you're going to try and trade that to TP1, TP2, TP3, and TP4. But there's a little nuance to this, and I want to share that with you guys. In the Discord, there's a channel that everybody that has a partner link have access to. Okay. And it's under the trading section. It's the trader guide. And it's a little step-by-step gauge. 3 questions you need to ask yourself before you take the trade. Are we bullish? Are we bearish? Or are we in a lateral range? Okay. So if you look at where we are now, very simple. We're in a bullish move. Back to the Discord. We're bullish. If you don't want to do it that way and learn a little bit more, you can click on the Learn More button, and it tells you a little bit more information. Well, why is this not loading? There you go. It's loading. Gives you information because the buddy indicator color codes the candles as well to help you identify what kind of phase you're in. Okay. So we're moving up. We're bullish. Then it tells you what kind of emotion is prevalent, or asks you what kind of emotions in the market: fear, greed, or complacency. Okay. So what are we at the moment? Now there's fear of missing out, fear of I didn't buy the bottom and the bottom's now over. Okay, so that kind of thing. Greed can also be a factor, but we need a little bit more sell off for the greed to kick in, because greed would be on the bearish side. So I'd say fearful market. And then what are we looking at? So it's telling you what is the best strategies to trade for at this given stage. So it's saying a blue SO4, a red SO5, and a blue SO3. So if you then go back to this, it's saying don't trade any of the bearish moves because the momentum is too strong. Trade the bullish moves. So if you do blue SO4, there was your entry, entered between the purple lines, TP1, TP2, TP3. It's as simple as that, guys. And all of that, if you join in. So now you know what to do. You know where's your setup for the week. You've got your big picture trade. You know how to look at the divergences. And you've got a tool that you can use completely free to help navigate and narrow down that entry. So it's telling you, don't enter short just yet. There's still a little bit of move. We'll probably go a little bit higher. The short will come. The additional entry for the sell-off. Okay, that's it. Have a lovely day, guys. Thanks so much for taking time. Let's quickly go over to the comment section, see if there's anything that you guys want to say or ask. Let's see what PJ O2 has to say. Peter, will you bring that up for me? What about the dominance divergences on almost all the time frames? You know, that is a fair question, and I think that's something we need to discuss in this afternoon's HODL portfolio or HODL stream, where we look at the alts, because the dominance more focuses on whether the money is flowing into Bitcoin or leaving Bitcoin, or whether the money is entering altcoins, more risky assets, or so forth. So if we look at coins on our altcoin bags, you know, stuff that we were looking at, let's bring up ETH. I'm going to just talk ETH real quick because ETH is the big daddy at this stage. The big question is, you know, from where we're at, we're in the buy zone, we're in that area to enter, as I marked out. We're about to leave that, and I expect long-term a little bit more push to the upside. Now, this is daily time frame, weekly time frames. And that's why it's a separate stream, because it's easy to say, but you're long ETH, but now you're telling me to short BTC. What the hell? And it's to make sure that people don't trip over the feet between the two. Hence the fact that there's 2 different streams. So if you trade, you're trying to make dollars. And if you're watching the afternoon stream, you're trying to earn and grow your investment bags. As simple as that. Remember, no financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I just show you what I do for a living. Okay. Let's see what else. The daily RSI trend line has been broken. Yes, that's something that you can have a look at as well from a daily point of view. We do. It's also interesting in that sense. But from a trader point, you know, it's not necessarily always wise to just have a look at that. But yes, that's what you're trying to look at. You're saying there, this is happening. Boom, and we're breaking that. But now, what if we get divergences? Remember, divergence is just in condition. So if this happens, then we'll still probably go and test that range again. So if you're using the trend line and the RSI in that sense, you're about to create that same wave. And you ignore the price, you look at the RSI. So it's also pointing to short term a little bit upside, which is why I'm saying 15 minutes straight long. And the 4-hour time frame says we're in the sell zone. So selling liquidity is going to enter the market. So your longs are going to be met with resistance. People's going to want to short this. People, that's not the general public, is going to want to short this. Okay. So yes, it's broken. And Bronwyn, nice to see you. Happy to have you here. Good morning. And that's it. That's everything, guys. 15 minutes in. Thanks so much for taking the time. You know what to do. See you later on the HODL stream. I'm going to look at our long-term HODL bags. Cheers, guys.